Hey, Redcasters, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Go Big Red.
Puts them in field goal range for a long field goal.
Sorsby up top in danger territory. It's picked off by Hartzog. Atonement and redemption for Hartzog.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast, the Husker Fan Sports Show.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast.
Hey, Redcasters, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Go Big. Whoops. Sorry, Dave.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast. I'm your host, David Gaspers, and I'm with Honke.
Oh, these are fun to put together here at the last minute. We've got some video that we're going to be putting on loop throughout the course of the show here. And so that was why that video was looping. But this is our film session episode. We do it every Labor Day week. And we have film from this week's game. And so we're going to be watching that here. And the Huskers got to 1-0. So it's a good day, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we wanted to see. The game, probably a lot of lessons learned, I would imagine. 20-17 might have been a little lower scoring than a lot of thought. But it was a close game, competitive game. But like you said, most important thing is 1-0.
Absolutely. We are also we're very fortunate to have a guest with us here tonight. You might have seen him on the fan forum last month, Eddie Sicilia of 2% Football. Welcome and get back again.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. If you would kind of give the elevator pitch again, what 2% Football is for the viewers.
Yes, of course. So long story short, we provide scouting reports for football teams. We work with colleges, high schools, and middle schools, but we focus majorly on high schools. I mean, coaches are busy, so we help them. They get ready. They get done with their Friday Night Lights game. So by Saturday noon, they'll have a full scouting report of their next opponent, tendencies, relevant statistics, who are their biggest playmakers, and every single concept they have used up to this point in the season. So that's what we do. That's
awesome. You were part of the 2024 New Venture Competition, won it. That's through the University of Nebraska Lincoln Center for Entrepreneurship. Some other sports-based organizations like Huddle, they came through there, won it as well. So did Open Door. So you're in good company there. In addition to doing 2% Football, you're also coaching some football. And let me show you a little video here from Friday night, Eddie. So that was from Friday night, Lincoln Standing Bear High School, where you're coaching this year, and they defeated the Blair High School team there, 27-24, I think it was, in overtime. How is year 2 of coaching varsity there, year 3 of the school? How's that going for you as well?
Great. Yeah, it was 24-21 in overtime. It was a great night. Happy that we started with a win this year. Very different from last year. Obviously, it was a rough couple of games at the beginning. We were able to finish the season strong with a couple of good wins, but now we're looking for a different season, right? So starting off with the right mindset and a good win was nice.
That's awesome. Well, Redcasters, this is what we do every year. We do a film session. We also, tomorrow night, we're going to do our weekly Tuesday night Redcast with the gang, and we'll be talking some football and some volleyball here. This week's theme is overcoming adversity. The football team winning by 3, and the volleyball team beating Kentucky yesterday, winning in 5 sets. So plenty to talk about there. That'll be at 9 o'clock on Tuesday, as all of our in-season regular Redcasts will be. But today, Dave, let's get to some film session. And we can start here with the rush offense. And for the first play here, And we posted all of these, by the way, yesterday to our Twitter account. The first one has like 85,000 views, the very first video that we posted. But this is we'll start with run offense here.
Honke, I got to say, I'm shocked that you started with rush.
Well, rush offense, pass offense, rush defense, pass defense. But you're right. We do need to start with the run here. And this very first play here, it's a shotgun based. We have, I think it's a double tight right or to the left. And we have what's an RPO. Oh, no, it's not the double tight one. I'm sorry. But shotgun here, and it's RPO to EJ running off to the left side here. Gets about 4 yards. Now, one of the things I highlighted in it on our post was with Dylan. One of the things I'd like to see on these RPOs is, and I mentioned this a couple times last year, I'd like to see a little more of a fake afterwards, whether that fake be an actual run fake or if it's even just fake the throw. He could be throwing it down there to Bonner, to number 4 there. Eddie, we talked about it a little bit beforehand. What were some of your thoughts on this play here as far as like that fake goes as well?
Yeah, this just seems like outside zone with a bubble down here on the bottom of our screen. That's the pass component of the RPO. He didn't like the numbers down here, and I would say I would agree. I can't really see if the safety's in there or not, but regardless, yeah, I mean, you would like to have the quarterback hand this off and then at least give us a little bit of a fake, where we could be throwing this because at some point he's going to. So, yeah, I agree there.
Dave, any thoughts there when you're watching that?
Yeah, I mean, since I'm not the coach and Honke's been a midget coach, so it's not as high school, but you guys know the X's and O's way better than me. The idea of the RPO obviously is the option, right? And Honke, how many times have we actually seen Dylan take this himself and run with it?
Boy, I could count it on one hand probably over the course of the last year.
Yeah, right. And so, like, the idea there of that being a threat seems to be lacking. It's interesting. It still works here, to your point. Emmett gets a decent bit of yardage there. I mean, maybe the RPO more could be developed as a pass to the right, to the bottom of the screen. But I'm just curious on, I mean, we're never going to expect Dylan to be a running quarterback, but we saw a lot of high-end programs still run their quarterbacks. Just looking at that Notre Dame Miami game last night, CJ Carr had multiple carries and whatnot. So if it's not going to be Dylan, how do you actually really, as the season progresses, keep this actually to be a threat? Well, why do they even worry about him at all? He's, to your point, has done this less than 5 times in 14 games.
Yeah, Eddie, how do you, when you're coaching RPO and you coach, do you coach quarterbacks as well? I know you're passing game, you're serial quarterbacks.
Yep.
How do you coach this in a way where, to Dave's point, you want the defense to believe one thing, or at least that there's an option of one thing happening, that he could pull it, he could throw the bubble, he could, but without that fake, it really, I mean, when the ball's handed off, it's pretty clear just by watching Dylan's movements here. In fact, he becomes kind of a spectator. He turns around and watches the play. The deception isn't there.
Yeah, well, I mean, on this specific play, Dylan is not a threat to run this ball. Like, this is not a read option. Read option would be, you normally have the defensive end or maybe even a linebacker, but normally the defensive end who are leaving unblocked for us to read as a quarterback. Either we can hand this off or keep it ourselves and run with it. This is not the case on this play. On this play, it's just about numbers. So if you go back a little bit at the beginning of this play, you'll see for him it's just a pre-snap read here. I'm just counting how many defenders do we have compared to how many receivers we have here on the bottom of the screen. So we have 3 receivers. One of them will be catching the bubble. The other 2 are blockers, right? So if he likes a situation where we have a 3 versus 3, but let's say one of them is far away, or even better, we have a 3 versus 2. We probably like those numbers. Then we're throwing that bubble. If not, we're just handing this off. This looks to me like a 3 versus 2 or 3 versus 3 if you account for that safety who's like 10 yards off. I think I like those numbers, but maybe they just teach it differently, right? Like, we're not in their meeting room. maybe they think that safety can actually make tackles on open field. And that's what Dylan decided. He's like, okay, I don't like this. I'm just going to hand it off. But nonetheless, I would like to see him at least attempt to make a fake of throwing that bubble just to keep the defense honest.
Yeah.
So he's not a running threat on this play per se.
Yeah, so the RPO really is a bubble screen to the right or a run to the left, and he's doing a pre-snap read.
Correct.
So yeah, that's I think hopefully helpful for the fans listening to really understand what the option is there, right?
Yep.
Well, we're kind of keeping that same theme here, and here is a reverser. Now, this was the double tight right set. It's under center. That's unique in and of itself. I ran about the first 20 plays, and I think we did twice under center, about 18 and shotgun. So, but this was under center. Bonner goes in motion. It's a handoff reverse there to him, double tight to the right. And one of the first things I noticed, and I'm just keeping with the theme here, and I'm not trying to be overly critical of Dylan. We've got plenty of great things to talk about Dylan in this. But again, here he is. He's got his hands up in the air now. I don't know in this case here how much deception would make a difference here on this specific play, but there is a counter option to this. You can see the running back going to the left. There's going to be a fake at some point in the year where you fake the handoff there, and then there's whether it's a quick pitch to the left or a rollout left. And just again, I'd like to see a little more of a fake pulled out by Dylan after this. I'll start with you, Eddie, and then Dave. Eddie, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, not talking about Dylan so much here. One, I like how Dana used our tight ends, especially. I think we have two really good tight ends. On this specific scenario, the naked eye might say, hey, we just didn't block this guy. Funny enough, when we're running jet sweep from under center, normally we don't block that defensive end on purpose. So in this case, the guy who makes the tackle, or at least the guy who wraps up number 4 initially, the defensive end, is not blocked on purpose because we're just climbing to the second level, assuming our receiver can get around the defensive end. Normally, our receiver will be faster than him. Plus, like you mentioned, having that outside zone or sweep action from the running back going the opposite way, we're hoping that defensive end tries to crash in on that so we can just get around him. So this is not really a broken play. We just like to say that they get paid too. So this is just the defense making a good play.
Yeah, I think Dylan obviously thought that was going for a touchdown.
Yep.
Right. And I think if he makes it around the end, who is free, he probably is, maybe a stiff arm away from getting through number 9. And he's got the blocking up front from Harburg and Linnemeyer. So, it looks like the play was just a split second off from being a touchdown.
Yep.
Honke, to your point about Dylan, I'm not here to blame anyone except the coaching staff, right? I mean, like if they're not teaching him to play that out, that's on the coaching staff. I mean, like the guy's smart, he knows he can know better. Are they not telling him?
Yeah, I just think especially when we're talking about split second decisions. And to your point, Eddie, this is a great play by the defender there. And when you're looking at linebackers, there's a good play later on that we're going to show where there's play action and what that does to affect where defenders, where they come up and in plays like this, there is going to be an option eventually for a quick pitch to the left there. Maybe there's a little bit of a counter roll to the left, and anything you can do to trigger a linebacker to delay 1 second or take one false step, whatever it is, that can be the difference on a play here. And so, these are the finer details I think that we like to try to break down. And one of the things I like to say too is I love that we get to break this down after a victory. This is not calling players out, and this is not like, bad Dylan. This is what are we doing to try to, what can we do to take something that already worked? I mean, these are both positive plays. They were positive yardage plays that we've shown so far, but what can make a 4-yard play into a 10-yard play? What can take a 10-yard play and make it into a touchdown? And sometimes it is just down to those finer details like that. I mean, I actually want to go back to the first play. I didn't mention this one part, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Eddie is the right guard here. Spindler, he gets down, comes across, gets about 5 yards down, but he's pretty much kind of chasing the linebacker the whole time. Is it whether is it a bad angle or is there a different way that you can call a play like that, a different, line call. It just, and I'll let you kind of watch it again. I know I'm just throwing it out there at you, but, trying to kind of, that's one of the things that we look at too, is like, what's the best way to get the best angles on guys? You get that one block made and that play can be completely different.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is outside zone.
Mm-hmm.
So in easy terms, everyone's taking a step, in this case, to the left, right? If there's someone that you can reach block and turn your back just like our center does right here. So he takes his step to the left. First guy he sees, he's going to try to turn his back because we're trying to run outside of our guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when there's no one to your left, the rule is for you to climb to the second level. So in this case, that's what happens to our right guard. There's no one right there, so he needs to climb to the second level, which would be the linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
The problem here is, obviously, that linebacker has those 5 yards of advantage where if he sees the play and reacts as fast as he did in this case, he can just get around us. And two, what we're aiming for is taking at least 1 or 2 yards in front of him because we know where the ball is going, right? Like we're assuming the linebacker is going to go to our left. So I agree if he takes maybe a little bit of a better angle, but this is just a tough play to make just because our center is already reaching.
Mm-hmm.
So now the guard just has to go. Like there, at the end of the day, you just have to put hands on him, which he does for a second, but that's just a tough angle for him to make that play.
Yeah, and this is a good example too. I think, again, a fake from Dylan. If there's even the slightest bit of a fake that makes that linebacker hesitate 1 second or take one false step that's a half foot to the left, whatever it is, what can happen in the backfield can help that lineman going across the line of scrimmage and getting 5 yards down the field, So, yeah. I mean, this is a good example, Redcasters, of how it all plays together. I mean, it's not just, the lineman took a bad angle or the quarterback didn't do this. It's when it's 11 guys on offense all working together and one guy makes a fake and it makes it easier for someone else to get a better angle. I mean, all that kind of stuff plays together when you're watching these plays. But no, I think that's great breakdown there on those two. Let's go to a couple of more run plays that we have. And we heard a lot, kind of a narrative in the offseason. We got to be able to run the ball on 3rd and short and 4th and short, get first downs, be able to do it on the ground. And I have a couple good examples here of us getting into 22 personnel, 2 tight ends and 2 running backs, and just playing power football in 3rd and short and getting the plays. So the first one here, this is a 3rd and 1, and we have 2 tights to the right, and the fullback is number 11. That's Cameron Leonard. And watch the fullback there, makes contact right at the line of scrimmage and takes the guy back, about a good 5 yards. And meanwhile, EJ hits the hole hard, and we end up getting about 10-plus yards here on a 3rd and 1. Actually, we keep going. It's almost about 15 yards by the time he gets down. And so, I mean, basic play, basic power here, right, Eddie? But in general, good old power. But, I mean, what do you see when you're looking at that?
I think it's funny because we adjusted on the fly on this. 11 right here, if you just drawing this up on the whiteboard, 11, our fullback, is supposed to kick out their defensive end. Now, their defensive end expects power, and you will see he uses a spill technique, which is he's going to slant inside. So you'll see white sleeves over there. He's slanting inside. So our guard was supposed to follow the kick out and go up to the linebacker. Because of how that defensive end treated us, there was no other option but for our guard to kick him out. And now our fullback was the one who had to climb to the second level. So that was not the intention there. We had to adjust on the fly. And even there, you end up getting, 12 yards?
Yeah.
So, again, defense making a good play, right? Reacting and knowing what he's expecting. And even then, our offense adjusting on the fly, EJ making a good cut, and getting vertical. I love it.
Love it. What do you think, Dave, of like I was talking with Eddie before we went on, like putting the defense alignment. We used to do it with Sue, and here's Cameron Leonard. I've seen it so many times over the years. We'll put a defense alignment on the field as a fullback in a short yards thing, and they're not that good at blocking because they're not an offensive player. They practice defense all the time. Here, I was so impressed with Leonard making good contact and then just driving the dude.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is curious that they feel like that's the best option. To your point, over multiple years, we've been seeing this. So. And not even in a pure like goal line situation, right? This is a obviously 3rd and short, just outside the red zone. But the fact that we don't have a fullback, even a walk-on fullback that would do better than Cam Lenhart is interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting personnel piece of it. I didn't see it the first time watching it, Eddie. What you talked about, I'm impressed here with the left guard with Lutovsky, number 59, making that pull, like you said. And so you're saying, he's pulling here and ends up picking up that DN that is crashing down. Yep. That would not have been his normal block.
So our 11 should be blocking their 11, but their 11, their defensive end crashes in. So the guard adjusts on the fly, he takes him, and now our fullback goes up and, like you said, makes contact with that linebacker. So that was on the fly.
That's impressive because, like you said, that's on the fly, and this goes back to what Dave and I were just talking about with the defensive linemen. It's got to be hard to practice that a lot. Leonard's not spending most of his week practicing fullback, and yet there's a lot of nuance to just that switch off there, and to be able to do it so seamlessly, that's really impressive. I mean, again, that's why I like doing this in slow motion, Redcasters. If you have questions as we're watching a play, feel free to throw them into the comment box, and we'll get them here to Eddie and Dave. But I love that nuance of a play like this. It looks so simple. It looks so basic. It's just power football. Just get under double tights and just run them over kind of thing. And there's so much more to it than that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so quick. It's 3rd and 1, short yardage situation. Like, these are seconds, right? Like, within 1 second, one had to be like, okay, I'm taking this guy, you take that guy, without having to communicate within each other. So it's just, impressive. That's D1 football right there for you.
D1 football.
Hey, Honke, as a football historian, the last 8 yards of that run is essentially a rugby scrum, right? Yeah. And now we see that all the time where a defender will hold up the running back, but then the linemen come and push, and then it's just a big shoving match. I don't feel like that was that common 20 or 30 years ago. Am I wrong here? When did the rugby scrum suddenly realize everyone's like, hey, we can just push our guy?
My understanding, my memory is that there used to be rules against pushing and in fact, even pulling. Like there's now plays I've seen at the goal line where a running back is clearly stymied at the half-yard line, and then some offensive lineman that's standing in the
grabs him,
in the end zone and just grabs him and pulls him forward. That would have been a penalty, and I don't know if it was 10 years ago or 50, but it feels like it's somewhere in that time frame you're talking about, Dave. The last 10, 20 years, some of those rules have changed to now where you can push and move the guy forward. A play like that, I don't know if 20 years ago if that would have been a forward or a forward motion, they would have stopped forward progress if they would have stopped it at some point.
Was dangerous and you needed to stop the play. Somehow it's just interesting. If Boomer was on the show, he'd be, well, that looks like 1912 right there, right? But just almost a reverse evolution in some ways.
Yeah. Well, reverse evolution. I think you just segued perfectly into the next one, and this is the last play of the run offense, and it's just the tush push. And it's 3rd and 1, and a lot of things are going on here. It's 3rd and 1. We don't switch personnel groupings, so defensively they can't go in and do any changes with their personnel either. We move Harburg into running back or quarterback, so he's taking the snap there, not Dylan. Dylan's actually in the far back here, and it's just the good old-fashioned Eagles tush push. Eddie, do you guys do this at Standing Bear? Do you have that in the repertoire of your offense?
Yep, like I can't talk too much, but yeah, we do. Any thoughts watching that? Anything you
not a lot to break down there, right?
I mean, no, know, but I will say though, I wouldn't be surprised if throughout this year we see Harburg being used like a Tyson Hill. Like if you guys have ever watched Tyson Hill with the Saints, the way they use him as a Swiss Army knife, catching balls, running the ball, throwing the ball. Like I think Dane is gonna have some fun this year with the versatility he brings to the table.
I've been wondering about that actually. This feels like and Taysom Hill is the great example, but that's not the only one out there any longer. But this is a unique situation like Taysom in the sense that he can line up his tight end, Harburg can line up his tight end, and without switching personnel, he could shift to quarterback on a run play like this. Dylan goes to the wide out, and it's the defense can't exchange players, right? So you could potentially have some mismatches there as the season goes on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tyler Warren last year, great example of that with Penn State as well. Anytime you can, and Harburg's a great athlete, and you want him taking that run play versus Dylan taking it too. I mean, it's a win-win across the board.
The bonus, though, opposed to Tyler Warren, not that, I mean, maybe Tyler Warren was a quarterback in high school, I guess, but Harburg could actually throw the other element of like not actually doing the tush push or a run and actually throw the ball, and they would have no recourse for it, right? It's.
And I think it's one of those things, if you put him under center, whether he throws the ball or not, you just have to be worried about it. Yeah. So maybe that doesn't allow the defense to just automatically say, hey, if he's on the backfield, we're just going to roll and have 8 guys on the box. Like, no, that's a threat. So we just have to be aware of it. Maybe it takes an extra couple of minutes every practice during that week for the DC of the opposing team to be ready for those type of situations. So even if you don't use him, he is a threat on the field. So I just love, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Dana uses him throughout the season.
Mm-hmm. One last, but I guess since we're showing it, Eddie, is there anything like, how do you, from an O-line perspective, I know you coach the QBs, but from an O-line perspective, I mean, what are you coaching here with the O-line? Is it do they get toe to toe, essentially no gap, and is it just does everyone just kind of push towards the center, and that's the goal of it with backs behind you pushing? I mean, is there a special technique here?
Yeah, so we just want it's called a wedge block. So everyone wants to wedge towards the center, and you want to stay as slow as possible. So especially with the tush push, since you're getting that extra push at the end, if the linemen get as slow as possible with their shoulder pads touching each other's, even if the D-line tries to jump over them or whatever, by the time the push gets there, the quarterback will just swim on top of them. So I think that's just very easy. Yeah, everyone wedges together, very, very low, and we go. There are a couple of things that might help. Silent count is one of those where, we just line up. I just tap the center's butt, and then we go. So we don't allow the defense to cue our snap count and maybe get a push before us, stuff like that. So we can go on 2 to make them hesitate a little bit. Like little nuances like that allows the quarterback sneak to be a little bit more effective for sure.
Yeah, we had former Husker offensive lineman Rob Zaska on, remember, a year or 2 back, and I was talking with him, and he said low man wins. That's the thing with football, low man wins, and that no play better exemplifies that. You mentioned the silent count there. How do you coach that so that it's an advantage for you? Like, how does the left guard and the left tackle know to go off? In my mind, I think the defense has an advantage if they see the ball snap and they take off, and the left guard and the left tackle don't know. Like, how do they know to synchronicity, that the play started, I guess, on the offensive side?
I mean, it's one of those, like, you'll have to be able to see it. Like, they're so close to each other. The moment I see my center moving, I'm moving.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's just one of those. And really, on a quarterback sneak specifically, the moment the center moves, I am moving as a quarterback, and that's really where we're aiming. Like, we're aiming right behind the center's butt. So that 1 yard, that split second might be the difference between me getting that first down or not. So really the center moving fast is the priority there.
Well, let's switch over here now to pass offense. And the first one here, this is, Eddie, I was telling you before we started, this is maybe my favorite play of all of them. And when you look at it, it's just an incompletion. It looks like it's a miscommunication. between the quarterback and the wide receiver, but there's so much going on in this one play. And what we'll start off first with is I always look at formation to begin with. So as you look at the formation to begin with, it's going to be double tight ends to the right, and we're pulling both guards. There's a RPO clearly here. So this can be a run play to the right with two guards pulling, and then Dylan pulls it out. He throws the ball, and it looks like maybe there's a miscommunication there with the receiver. So that kind of sets the stage. Eddie, I'll kind of let you take it from here a little bit, but what do you see as you're looking at this?
Yeah, so just on the running component of this, this is called box sweep in majority of systems. So we're going to be pinning everyone, and our guards are pulling, right? So think about it like a sweep to the right. Now, what's interesting about this for me is you will see the defensive end that almost tackles the running back before Dylan pulls this ball and throws it should be blocked. I know it looks like we didn't block him on purpose, but that is not the case. That left tackle is trying to cut him off, but you can see how he clearly misses. So that is not part of the quote-unquote read. That was just an MA, a missed assignment, okay? So that's part one of this situation. Two, number 44, whether you want to call that their outside linebacker, their star, whatever you want to call him, he is probably our read when it comes to the quarterback, when it comes to the inside receiver running that slant. That can be called a glance RPO. So since 44 is there, we probably know from pre-snap, unless he actually engages and comes down to make a play on this run, we're not throwing that slant. Now, the only reason why Dylan would throw the outside receiver's route, who's running a 5-yard in, is if they have a side adjustment. Side adjustment in this case would be, hey, you have a 5-yard in, but if your corner is playing off, and again, all of this is me assuming, I'm not in their meeting room, I'm not coaching the Huskers, right? But just assuming, their side adjustment would be, hey, if your corner is off by more than 5-6 yards, which it is in this case, you turn your 5-yard in into a 5-yard hitch. So 5 yards and you stop. I am assuming that is what Dylan is expecting. So when he takes this ball and throws this, he's throwing a hitch where the outside receiver is still running his in. If he runs an in and we throw him this ball, he probably goes to the hospital. This safety is decapitating him. But I think Dylan is expecting a hitch here, and that's why it looks like a miscommunication. Outside of that, numbers-wise, really, if we block the defensive end and we hand this ball off, I think we have good numbers here to the boundary. And this is probably a 5-6 yard run down here to the bottom of the screen. So
putting myself in Dylan's shoes here. So, again, I was critical of Dylan on a couple earlier plays here. Well, here's a play. I mean, I think Dylan's done two things right. He didn't hand off, seeing that a D end was coming through, because he probably had the option to hand off. And the D end did have there's a misassignment, so the DN gets in there, he pulls it, and then he makes the correct throw too to not decapitate his wide receiver. And also, it would have been there if that receiver does the hitch instead of the slant there. So Dylan, I mean, and again, all of this is happening. We have the benefit of slow motion replay over and over again. Dylan's making these decisions. Some of them are pre-snap, but some of them are literally the ball snapped. He didn't know a misassignment was going to happen there with the left tackle, and yet he's making these right decisions in absolute, real time.
Yes, it's a cerebral precision. It's the hardest position to play out there in sports, and everything happens fast. So anytime you wanna judge a quarterback, especially at this level with everything that's going on, just keep this in mind. Yeah, a lot is happening, and again, defense gets paid too. They're trying to disguise things, and they try to fool you. So yeah, I just hold the judgment a little bit back on these quarterbacks for sure.
Dave, I mean, what were your thoughts just in general? Dylan's play here in the first game. I mean that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an example of the opposite of that previous RPO where he actually takes and throws the ball, and I think he makes the right read there. And it's interesting that the wide receiver doesn't make the same decision. I'm sure that'll be talked about. But, that's where maybe a few games from now, they're going to be a little bit more on the same page and sharper, and that could be a big gain with a one-on-one move out on the edge.
Yeah, I think that's one of the pieces of this too. Is like sometimes I think it's easy for fans to get so frustrated in one game, like, and they come to conclusions. And again, by the way, we won the game. We are 1-0, and it's so much better to improve, after a victory than versus after that loss. But like when I think the coaching staff talks about things being, we're an inch away here. There's it's one little difference, one block. These are the nuances of the game that we're getting down into in some of these plays. It's one of the reasons that last play was one of my favorite ones to look at, because on its surface, it's just an incomplete pass, but there's so many different things happening in there. And we could see in the next game and 2 games from now, we can see where that ball gets handed off and the left tackle doesn't miss the assignment, and that's a big run. Or we can see where the exact same throw happens, but the receiver does do the hitch, and all of a sudden, he breaks one tackle and he goes off to the house too. So, it all – we're not that far away. I really don't think so in some of these plays, and I like the breakdown you guys are doing here with it.
If you don't mind, Matt,
yep.
I think Dave brings an awesome point, especially when we're talking about week 1. If you look at our game, if you look at Texas versus Ohio State, if you look at Clemson's game, red zone offense, specifically for me, as I saw these games, they struggle, right? Because normally on week 1 is way easier to play defense than playing offense. So getting those little details right, like Dave mentioned, you might see these things being executed properly by week 3, week 4. But right now, everyone's trying to get on a rhythm.
That's a great point. Nebraska was 3 of 3 in the red zone here. 2 touchdowns, 1 field goal. We'll get to special teams at the very end of this, and special teams came in very, very important, very special for us. But you're right. It is the differences in a couple of tweaks here or there. That they always say the big improvement that teams make are from week 1 to 2, and early on in that season. These are some of those improvements, and I bet we're going to see better play out of that left tackle on that next week, or we're going to see better play out of that wide receiver on that next week. In terms of making sure that they're doing those sight changes. So, all right, well, here's the next one here, another RPO, and we're out of shotgun there, and this is the fade route out to Hunter. And so it's a nice one-on-one matchup here. The play action really pulls up the linebackers. Hunter goes up, gets the ball up high. My only thing to him is keep your feet. You keep your feet, you could turn around, you could walk in for a touchdown. But we had trips there to the right. You watch the play action there. You can see the linebackers coming up, stopping at the 46 and starting to turn back around, so that that the play action worked there on it. Eddie, again, I'll start with you. What do you see with this play?
For me, it's one of those, like, the corner is playing pressed, and he's your guy, right? Like, he's your ex-receiver. You probably want to feed him the ball. You trust him in a one-on-one situation. For me, as a quarterback, I see press, no help over the top by a safety. I probably want to take this shot. On a perfect situation, I probably don't want to throw this back shoulder because he had a step on the corner, right? Like, if Dylan leads him, this might be a touchdown. But like you said, this is 1, a catch. 2, he could probably stay on his feet, catch this ball, go make a play,
Yeah, Dave, I mean, we also talk about matchups a lot of times. I think back to the old Tecmo Bowl days of you and me playing, on the Nintendo. And, bigger receiver, bigger tight end, bigger receiver can make a tough catch over someone, or a faster guy can make can get around a slower guy, whatever. This is a big receiver that we have, Hunter. This is going to be a tough matchup defensively for a smaller corner, and he goes up and gets the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've seen Dylan throw that back shoulder throw a lot. He likes it. Because maybe you have a question for Eddie there. We've talked a lot about the cerebral nature of quarterback play, right? And this seems like a pre-snap read, right? To your point, you've seen the safety up. You're like, I got one-on-one over there. I like the matchup. I'm going over there. How much, I guess, is pre-snap read these days opposed to actually, reading the field and deciding, while the play is in action on who I'm thrown to? And in the same sense, did he predetermine that he was going to do the back shoulder fade there? Or it sounds like you feel like maybe he could have had the option to air that out more and let him run underneath it.
So that's a beautiful question, and that's a nuanced question. On certain situations, like the first RPO that we saw, that is more pre-snap, right? Like, do we have numbers or not? And then some things are post-snap. The last play that we saw, that was post-snap. This has a post-snap component to it. So for me, and I'm not on the Huskers coaching staff, right? As I'm walking down to these line of scrimmage as a quarterback, I'm looking at that corner being pressed on my receiver. I'm like, filing that away. I'm probably coming to him. Now, as you see this slow motion, look at Dylan looking at that safety. The moment that safety engages on the run and gets in the box, that's when he's like, all right, cool, I'm throwing this thing for sure. So you can see how there's a pre-snap component to it and then a post-snap component to it. Now, once he decides to throw this ball, normally as a quarterback, if my receiver is even or ahead of the corner on this scenario, we probably want to throw this ball over both guys and lead him. So in this case, see how he's even? We probably want that ball in front of him. If the corner is a little bit ahead of my receiver and playing an over-the-top technique, that's when we want to do the back shoulder throw.
Yep. That's great. Interesting.
So one other question I have, Eddie, and this goes to how much is this pre-snap determined? Like, I think if this is 20 years ago, I look at this and I go, this is a play action pass. But you watch the O-line on this and watch how they fire off the ball here. This very much looks like this could have been a run as well, like a true RPO. He could have handed this off. That line is not pass proing. They're surging past the line there to block. So I mean, you look at that. I mean, that looks true RPO, doesn't it?
Yes. And another little detail that you'll notice on these RPOs is, yes, they fire off. They try to get their double teams on the line of scrimmage, but they're not passing the 2 to 3 yard line.
Yes.
Because otherwise, if we catch this ball and let's say there's a guard or a tackle 5 yards down the field, then that's illegal man down the field, which is a flag, and then that will be coming back. So you can notice it's an RPO because of that little detail as well.
Yeah, no, that's a great perception there too. With it is that, with the run game with that RPO, how they came off the field or came off the block, they didn't go 5 yards down the field. That was one of the things I was thinking about as I was watching it too. In fact, we had one of the responses on Twitter was that, we have linemen down the field. It's like, well, you can be down the field. You can be down the field 2 to 3 yards. You just can't be down the field 5+ if you're going to, have a legal man down the field called, which would call it back. So no, that's a great point as well. All right, let's go to another play here. And this is this is 3rd and 4. And this is Dylan hitting a quick little slant right across the middle there to Barney. Barney catches it, sure-handed. Kind of takes a wicked tackle there, but trips to the right. Barney's the inside receiver. This is a boom thing. Snap. Barney gets to the first down line, gets past it by a couple yards, so he doesn't catch it short. Dylan gets rid of the ball fast. Cincinnati seemed to be allowing a lot of this to happen throughout the course of the game, allowing guys to catch the ball in front of them and making tackles. But here's a great example. I mean, this was 3rd and 4, and this looked like a pretty easy pitch and catch, Eddie.
Yeah. This concept is called shock in majority of offenses. So you'll have our outside receiver down here in the bottom of the screen running a 5-yard hitch. The inside receiver is running a slot fade. So if you catch any defense with just one high safety, let's say cover 1, you probably want to throw that. And then the most inside guy out of trips here is running a stick route. So that all that means is he's running a 5-yard hitch. If there's no one around him, he just sits there. If there's a linebacker inside of him, he'll run out. So right here, 11, if he would have been closer to our guy, who we throw to, he will be expanding into the flat. But since he's there and he doesn't look back at our receiver, he just sits there. Yep, like you said, one step drop, catch and throw that thing, especially when it's 3rd and 4. We just won that first down.
Mm-hmm. Dave, any thoughts here on this? I mean, this is 3rd and 4, moving the chain.
I'm just happy that Barney's that flexible. Because, man, and he was obviously down. I mean, look at that. I mean, it gives a chance. I believe Boomer texted us earlier that he heard that Janarian Bonner is out for the season. So that's unfortunate. It's a big loss. I'm happy that Ja'Cory here was healthy after this hit.
Yeah. This was a pretty wicked one there. But first down, and that's what leads us to the next couple plays here. We have a couple third downs that go to Dane Key. And so same thing here, shotgun. Dane Key's the guy on the far right out of this formation. He catches it about a yard short of the first down. But again, Cincinnati's playing off, give him a couple yards, and he catches it. There's no dancing around. He catches the ball and just goes straight up field, gets the first down, and actually gets about another 5 afterwards. I guess, Eddie, I don't know how to compare this to the play prior. Is there anything different that you see here, or just, I mean, it's a boom boom thing. Snap, throw, guy catches it, and he goes upfield and gets the first.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different concept, but for Dylan, I mean, we're just looking for space here, right? Mm-hmm. It kind of worked out in our favor because of how they just dropped off, both the corner and the safety. We got to be careful with that, ball security right there. That could have been a fumble. But I like the fact that Nebraska came back and kept attacking wherever 11 was. So their linebacker, number 11, we talked about him early, right? He was being a big factor on our run game. And you can tell that's where he feels comfortable. Now, some of the things that defenses will do is they will shift things around to make it look muddy for us. Now they're using him on pass coverage. And back-to-back plays, we go back and attack the zone that he's covering or nearby. So I like the fact that we kept going back to that. Okay, you might be a great run defender, but that doesn't mean that you're a great coverage guy,
Dave, I love this perspective that Eddie's giving here. This is like an OC of like you're trying to alter how the defense is going to call their defenses. Hey, they want 11 to be here, but we're going to force them to come out here. I mean, I love this perspective we're getting from Eddie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm learning a lot. I do think that Dylan liked getting the ball to Key and Hunter already, so it's good to see those guys have some chemistry already. And this, besides the ball security issue, it looked like a pretty easy play for both of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's another one, another third down and 5, and this one's going to go to Key as well for first down. So shotgun, same formation it looks like, or there was 2 wides on each side, and this one's more of a slant there. He catches it. He does have a guy right on him, but Key, again, he's a big-bodied receiver. He catches it right about at the first down marker and carries the dude for another 5 yards. When you look at this concept, Eddie, how's this look for you compared to maybe the previous play, and how's this look as we get the first?
Man, this just puts a smile on my face. This is one of those things where, like, this drive now forced their hand. Look at who's blitzing on this play. They no longer want 11 covering. So guess what? They're going to blitz 11 because we have been torching him throughout the drive. Now we just get to replace him with a nice little slant behind him.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, yeah, they just threw it right where 11 left.
Yeah, because their DC was like, all right, they just keep targeting 11. They keep targeting his zone, so I'm going to blitz him. So guess what? Nebraska said, all right, cool. I'm just going to throw a slant right behind you. Easy peasy.
This is the game within the game. I'm telling you, folks, this is Eddie Sicilia, coaches with Standing Bear High School. He's founder and CEO of 2% Football, and 2% Football is all about, scouting future opponents for teams. And if you're ever interested, if you're a coach and you want to have scouting reports done for you from 2% Football, reach out to Eddie here. We'll get you that information at the end of the show here as well. But this is the kind of stuff. I mean, like, Dave, this is the game within the game. I love this. This is what Holgerson and the OC staff is looking at. They're getting down to the individual defender of like, yeah, this guy's doing this. We want to force him to start doing this. And I agree with what Dave said earlier. I'm learning a lot here, Eddie, because I don't see some of those things. I just see kind of the X's and O's of what's happening on the play. But there's things being set up, plays in advance that lead to this.
I believe it's called strategery.
Strategery. That's correct.
Strategery.
But I mean, yeah, Eddie. I mean, this is to your point. You're setting this up, plays in advance, and to see it happen. I love your response there. That this is what you love seeing this. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and it is one of those things where, like, if you see it live, you might not catch it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can assure you, those guys are looking at that on the sideline. They're like, all right, cool. Well, he can't cover. Now let's expose him.
Well, we have one more with Key here, and this is for the touchdown. And so this is on 4th and 2. We're in the red zone, back to the red zone offense you talked about earlier, Eddie. We have Harbor going in motion back and forth here. And it's a RPO. Dylan's looking at looks like I think probably at 11 again, isn't it? And then throws off him and hits Key there for what looks like an easy pitch and catch there. We have a touchdown. Eddie, this is an area that Nebraska has struggled in the last 5-10 years, red zone offense and getting the ball in the end zone here. What's Dylan doing here to make this work?
Running wise on the RPO, we have a split zone, right? So we're going to have inside zone by the O-line. Harbor is going to be the one doing a sift block, so kicking out the defensive end or linebacker on the opposite side. So you'll see him sifting across. He will be blocking, what's his number? Number 9, right? The strong safety or whoever that is. So we're doing split zone on the running component of this RPO. Outside, we have a fade by our bottom receiver, which I wouldn't be surprised if we see Dylan throwing this thing at some point, maybe this upcoming week if he has that one-on-one matchup again. But when it comes to our read defender, you nail it on the head. It's 11. If 11 engages the run, which he does right here, we're throwing that slant right behind him. If he backs up, this is probably just a handoff, and we see if we can get in there with our numbers in the box. So 11 just looks at us a little bit too long. Boom, touchdown.
My gosh, Dave, I'm watching this. I'm just thinking of like how in real time, what has to be going through Dylan's head to be able to make these right reads. And I mean, there's so much of it's pre-snap, but also, I mean, once that snap happens, I mean, you don't know what that defender is going to do. And I just see there's so much that has to be going through his head, but he makes the perfect read here.
Yeah, the accuracy and the touch too. I mean, like I love this play when it happened. I'm like, that's a great play call and really well executed. And Eddie just emphasizes how well it was done on multiple parts there. So, and again, picking on number 11. So,
yeah. And if you see with Dylan being right-handed, if you see him throwing RPOs to his right, it will be a little bit easier than throwing RPOs to his left, like in this case. So that is not easy to do. Normally, what we would ask from him is you write this thing, so you write the handoff. Once you know you're going to throw, you're going to flip your hips and throw. But Dylan has this ability, very Mahomes-like. I'm not saying he's Mahomes, but without even having to flip his hips, he can create enough torque and be rotational enough to throw this ball. So that's an impressive 5-yard throw, however you want to slice this.
The accuracy of that, right? Like we've seen this before where that ends up being an overthrow. Like, oh, he was wide open. And he just didn't with some other quarterback. And then here Dylan makes it look so easy.
Yep.
Coach Rhule had his press conference today, and that was one of the things he talked about. Dylan caught a little bit of flack, on social media and stuff that, we didn't take some bigger hits on some plays and go downfield more. Was he being overly conservative and just taking what was, right in front of him? And Rhule's like, it was amazing what he did. And that, here he has, there's a lot of talk about, Mahomes is up there in the press box. He was sitting right behind us, and Mahomes is his idol. There'd be all this, by nature, you think maybe he's going to try to take some big shots and try to do something to impress him. He's like, no, he just kept taking what was there. And like that is the maturity level of that QB to do that, to have no interceptions in the game, to complete over 75% of his passes, to be able to do all that, 243 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. And we were playing a power four opponent too. And that is something that, should not be lost in this. I mean, Cincinnati, we don't know what they're going to be like this year, but they could be a good team. And And this was a really impressive game by Dylan there in that pass game there, and I love the breakdown of that.
Well, and I mean, even if you go back to that comparison of Mahomes, 2018 Mahomes is not 2025 Mahomes. 2018 with Tyreek and Kelsey and Sammy Watkins and all that, yeah, he was throwing it all over the yard, sure. But then defense realized I'd rather him have to earn every single blade of grass than for him to throw a 40-yard touchdown over the top. So what did he have to do on 2020, 2021 when he lost Tyreek? Well, he had to learn how to take all those easy throws and take what the defense is giving you. So again, I'm not saying Dylan is Mahomes, but if Dylan is doing that as a fan base, we should be happy that he's doing that, because if he forces a dumb turnover late on the third quarter or the fourth quarter, we would be super upset about it, right? So if he's just taking his checkdowns, we should be happy about it.
Well, yeah, Cincinnati, who I thought their QB played a great game, but I think that that last pass play that they threw, the interception, I'm sure they're wishing that they would have done something a little different in that situation too, right? And Dylan, there was only one play that was close to being a interception for him. Really, for the most part, he played I think a pretty flawless game. And one of the things that I was being critical earlier of just him like carrying out a fake. I mean, like that's getting down into pretty tight details with him. The level of detail that this guy does as a QB, what he's able to do as a true freshman. To your point there too, Eddie, about how he's still a young quarterback out there, but he's handling a lot. And Coach Rhule talked about on his podcast, House Rules, how the level of detail that Dylan does in his preparation is rubbing off on like a young QB like TJ Lateef, the true freshman who's a backup. It's like this is all Lateef knows as a college player is what Dylan's doing. So he watches how Dylan prepares, and now Lateef is sitting there preparing the same way, which is a pro way to approach the position. So, I mean, Dylan, I'm ecstatic with where he's at right now.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move it over here to the defensive side now, and we'll start with the rush defense. And the first play here is the second play of the game. And if you start it off, you'll watch that Judy, number 16, the defensive tackle for Nebraska. He ends up getting pushed back about 10 to 15 yards on this play. But what it is he gets caught in a stunt, and we're doing a lot of stunts. Anybody that watched that game, you'll notice we were stunting guard and tackle, and that means we can do different kind of crosses where one guy will go in front of the other guy, and he gets hit basically running sideways, and that's what knocks him off. Now, meanwhile, the running back here, he cuts into where Judy would have been there, and here's number 8 Singleton to make the tackle at 5 yards, and it's just a missed open field tackle. Running back makes one guy miss, goes, and play ends up going for about 12, 13 yards, and they get a first down. Okay, so I'm using this kind of as a baseline play because the next one's going to be showing Singleton making a really good open field tackle. But anyways, I want to start from here. And so, Eddie, there's a lot of talk about our run defense in this last game. We gave up 200-plus yards of rushing. But let's start maybe with that D-line and some of the stunting and everything. How can that lead to some of these gaps being opened, in some of these run plays?
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly, right? You have a DT stunt, so the defensive end scratching in, and we would hope the defensive tackle could loop around, specifically when rushing the passer. That helps a lot, but in this case, we just cut off guard in that moment. Our pad level by the defensive tackle is a little bit too high, and again, they get paid too. That guard, he finished the play, right? Like he keeps pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. That's what you would like to see as an offensive coordinator on the other side. Number 50 is dominating our guy on this specific play. Now, when it comes to Singleton, I will say all throughout the game, I think we have high trust on Singleton. And I will say this because we're playing a 3 safety defense. On this play, and you'll see a couple more that you broke down, we're playing a 3 safety look, which means as pros of that defense, you can do multiple things schematically, but also that means that the 3 of them have to be ready and willing to come downhill and make these type of tackles on open field. So the fact that we're allowing them to do this means that we have a lot of trust on those safeties, specifically Singleton, because we were asking him to fill these gaps quickly.
Mhm.
So, yes, does he miss on this tackle? Yes, absolutely. But like I said, I think us allowing, were we game planning to allow the 100 yards? Absolutely not. But I think a lot of it had to do with the way we approach the game schematically.
Mhm. And this is I'm going to show the next play here where Singleton makes the open field tackle, but we're still looking at the first one here. This is a hard open field tackle too. This is two guys running at each other. There's not really an angle. It's more, the running back's coming right at him and makes one move. Here, this is the second play. This is the 1st and 10. I think it's the play right afterwards, actually. And they're doing kind of like a jet sweep motion, basically. And number 4 takes it around the outside. They have real good perimeter blocking from the receivers, but the one guy that goes unblocked out of it all is Singleton. And with an angle, he makes a big one-on-one tackle. If he doesn't make that tackle, that guy can continue on.
Yeah.
So again, this isn't picking on one guy. Here's Singleton making that really good one-on-one play, different style of play. In fact, right here we have Judy, number 16 from the first play. I think it's also another does another switch or twist on the D line, and he gets outside just as trailing the play a little bit. But anyways, Eddie, I guess comparatively speaking to that first one here, you watched this one. What are your thoughts?
Again, this just lets me know that our defense trusts Singleton a lot. When I look at this, I am like, we have 3 receivers out there versus 3 guys that are within 10 yards. The guy who's farthest away is the safety, so we're not going to touch him, which is Singleton. And you would hope that gives you a 4 to 5 yard run before he even needs to make a cut. And hopefully he makes Singleton miss. You mean to tell me that he came down from 11, 12 yards away from the ball, and he comes down and makes his tackle and holds it down to a 3-yard gain? Like, that's an impressive play.
Dave, is it fair? The defense, the run defense, was getting, its fair share of people saying that they weren't doing the job. I guess, as you had chance watching the game, as you're seeing some of these plays here, I mean, what was your general take on the run defense?
Yeah, I'm glad you put out these 2 in particular. I remember that missed tackle by Singleton, and to your point, it was a great run, just a last second juke there, and then, but the fact that the resiliency of that Eddie shows that he comes and makes the next play, right? Defensively, rush defense, I guess I felt fine about. Maybe pass defense with actually getting to the quarterback in the backfield a little bit more is more of a concern. But overall, I felt like the defense held up pretty well. I mean, you tell me I'm holding any power 14 to 17 points, I think we should win the game.
Yep, absolutely. Well, the next 2 plays, run defense, this is going to be Cincinnati having a 2-back look. And this first play here, so this is out of the shotgun, 2 backs, fullback to the right of the QB, and we bring a corner blitz off the left side, and that fullback basically picks up the corner, and the running back cuts off of that, gets to the outside, and decent downfield blocking there by that receiver, and he gets about a 15-plus yard gain going down the sideline. Eddie, what do you see in this?
In a perfect world, you would hope that corner can not only make contact, but, hold his ground, funnel him inside, but also have a free arm for him to try to make a tackle, even if it's just to slow him down. But I will say the corner still funnel him inside, which should be his aim, especially with a cat blitz like this. Where I would place a little bit more of the blame would be on the linebackers, because once he gets inside in there, the tackle just dominates the linebacker for long enough where he can turn the corner. So I would put this more on, is this number 8, number 6, that linebacker? I think that's number 8.
I think that was 0. I think that was Jalen Wright.
Yeah. So I would probably place a little bit more blame on 0 not being able to disengage from that tackle. So once the running back gets inside, for him to be there. And I mean, he was almost there, but again, almost is not the same as being there, right? So
yep. Yeah, and again, this goes back to when we talk about a game of inches. you miss that one, you have one guy that is unblocked there that can make that tackle, and he doesn't, then it could turn a play that would have been a 1 or 2 yard gain into what ended up being about 15. I'll do another 2-back set that Cincinnati had here, and this is also out of the shotgun. They've got a guy in motion in the back, and a great one-on-one play here by Keona Davis, number 97, gets off the block there, gets the running back in the backfield, and then you love to see this. Dave, I'll start with you here. You love to see this. It's not just Keona making the play in the backfield, but there's 4 defenders all around him right there in the backfield, the swarm. So there's the black shirts getting a negative tackle for loss.
Yeah, no, a great example of that rush defense. And, I think the defensive line is, coming into the season was one of the biggest, question marks. And here's an example of their potential, I think, So we want to see more of this, obviously. And as Big Ten play comes along, it's going to be critical that we can make stops like this.
Eddie, this is an area of the team. We lost Ty Robinson to the pros. We lost Nash to the pros. And so 2 guys that have had a lot of snaps, and so we were playing some young guys there along the D line. How much grace should Husker fans maybe be able to give some of this D line that a lot of these guys are playing their first meaningful snaps in college football in this game? How much grace should we be giving to these guys?
Yeah, just give us a second to jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially with run fits, it's all about lane integrity and who's responsible for what gaps. So sometimes if you haven't been playing together for a long time, you might shoot the wrong gap, or you might shoot the same gap as someone else, and then that's where the creases occur. So yeah, just be patient. For example, in this case, absolutely, like you mentioned, 97 getting rid of his blocker is huge. But also look at 11, our defensive end right here. Mm-hmm. He uses a long arm technique, and that right there allows us to make this play because the quarterback can't keep this because he sees white collar outside, so he has to hand it off, and now 97 cleans it up. So 11 with that long arm on the tackle, keeping contained, outside leverage, but pushing the tackle into the runner. Beautiful job.
Wow. So that's Leonard there, the right end. And so by long arm technique, you mean that he's extending his left arm out onto the tackle and is still able to play outside where the quarterback can't pull it and run it.
Correct. So his whole body is still on the C gap, so he's still outside, has contained, but long arming him allows him to push the tackle into the play. And now he creates traffic for everyone else to get in there and bottle that up.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's real good there. The final run defense play we have here, this is a good one-on-one tackle here. This is Donovan Jones from Omaha, number 37, defensive back. He gets engaged here with a block, gets off that block here, and, it's a one-on-one play, and he makes it. We'll kind of watch it here again, give you another chance to see it, Eddie, before I ask your thoughts on this here, but it's out of the shotgun. They have, it looks like, I guess that's a pistol set. They're pulling. They could have been a little run pass option too if the quarterback would have kept it and they had a guy coming across that he could throw it. When you look at that play, what are some of your thoughts?
This one's interesting to me because if this is an RPO, which I don't think it is, it would be hard for the quarterback to be able to throw the ball to zero because it's just going opposite and away from the play and the quarterback's eyesight. So I don't think it's an RPO.
Okay.
I think there's miscommunication here. I think zero thinks is a play action, and that's why he looks back to the quarterback right there, expecting the ball. And I think the quarterback's pointing at him like, go block. I am pretty sure if I had to bet, I would bet a sustainable amount to say zero should have blocked number 37 of ours on the split zone right here. So when he comes across, he probably should be helping there as a blocker. So, we just benefit from them having a miscommunication. 37 does a beautiful job in there, filling in there. That's textbook tackling right there.
That is textbook tackling. And to your point, looking at it, that's exactly right. That zero probably should be blocking 37, and that play could have had a bigger a bigger outcome than that. Dave, it's fun to watch other teams have miscommunications early in the season.
Yeah, hey, and and if they make a mistake, we need to be there to take advantage of it. So I love it.
Mm-hmm. Dave, any thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I mean, you can really see that because the wide receiver lets Jones go and goes to the next level, right? So he clearly expected someone to come behind him and finish that block.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, that leads us to our last part of the defense here and pass defense. And we'll start with the play. Speaking of Donovan Jones, number 37 from the last one, here's a pass play. They have it's shotgun, 2 receivers left, 1 to the right, 2 backs. There's a little play action, and one of the other backs came off into the field. It came off to do a swing to the left. And Donovan Jones, now he misses the open field tackle here, but he does do enough to hold up the receiver in the backfield. And by that time, there's 3 or 4 defenders, the swarm of defenders come. You love to see that. That's effort on defense. That's coaching effort and making sure the guys are never giving up on a play. And when you see 3 or 4 of your friends that are, there to clean up the guy, that's a good spot to be in. So that's 96 is Nari, number 7 Hartzog, 15 McCullough. I mean, there was 3-4 dudes there. Eddie, what do you see on this?
I'm sorry, I'm super biased towards offense. I would be screaming at my quarterback if he would have ever done that.
Okay.
This is an RPO, so you have the swing, and all you want to do here is if someone travels or shifts with the swing, which we do. 37 is traveling across the formation with him. We want to hand this off. So I'll get to the passing component of it, but just the running component of it, that's inside zone. They have their 5 linemen versus 5 guys in the box from us. So if he hands this off, they're accounting for every single one of our defenders. This is probably a 7 or 8 yard run. So just look at the box right there. That's 5 for 5, and that's probably a 7 or 8 yard gain. So the fact that he threw this is really, it's a mistake. The defense did a good job, right? Like, again, if you're going to make a mistake, we're going to make sure that you pay for it.
Yeah. Dave, look at that. I mean, he's right. I mean,
it's obvious when you look at it. It's like, it's so easy in slow motion to make the right decision, but 37 is clearly tailing the guy you're throwing the ball to.
Yep.
You're like, hey, look at that guy going across the field, following the guy I'm throwing the ball to. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Oh, that's great. The other pass defensive play, and again, we held Cincinnati to 69 passing yards. Butler for 5 years at Buffalo in the NFL had a number 1 ranked pass defense. So this is an area of strength, and also you were mentioning earlier, Eddie, the 3 safeties. There's a lot of trust, I think, that this staff is going to put in that secondary. This last play I want to show you, this just gives us a good example. This is 3rd and 10. We always talked about how aggressive is Coach Butler going to be. Well, you have to get into these situations to be able to be aggressive. If you're constantly in 3rd and 1s and 3rd and 2s, it's hard to be. And so I wanted to kind of see, what does a 3rd and long look like, just structurally? What are we trying to do when it's a 3rd and long? So to set the stage here, and I'll let the play start over again, but it's 3rd and 10, and Cincinnati in the shotgun here. We have 4 guys that are rushing, and we have what looks like a spy with is that Shavers? I think that was Shavers. But anyway, so 4 guys rushing, and then the spy is also coming, which is basically like a 5th. So 5 guys there. Nobody open deep. They throw the under to an easy completion, 5 yards, but he's 5 yards short. And then you have Buford right there on the sure tackle around the sideline. And they make a completion, but they don't get the first. And we have a couple more stunts going on with the D-line. So, Eddie, I'll start with you here. What are your thoughts here, 3rd and long, and what kind of – is this an aggressive defense, or what do you see out of this?
No, I agree with you. I think when you're 3rd and long as a defense, you get to pin your ears and call what you want. Now you're dictating things to the offense because they have where they have to get to get that first down. Right here, I think with this stunt, specifically here to the bottom of the screen, we get really good penetration, and we wash him on purpose. So I think they had the spy ready because we were hoping he would watch outside the pocket. So you will see 15 right here on the bottom of the screen stunting with 11. So see how 11 tries to gather the guard and the tackle, and now 15 can knife through the guard in the center. So I think that's a holding, me personally. But by 15 being able to knife in there, the quarterback got a little, happy feet. He panicked a little bit. He felt that rush. Now he leaves the pocket. Now that's when the spy can engage and come downhill. I think, so this is the second quarter. I think we should have done this a little bit more, specifically at the end of the game, because he started running crazy on us and extending plays and stuff like that. But this is a great example of us forcing him to go to where we want him to go, and now we have a spy ready for him.
And that guy's clearly spying, right? I mean, that's his role there.
Yeah. Again, obviously, I don't know the call, but it seems like he's just looking at the back. The moment the back is accounted for, he's like, all right, cool. Now I can get my eyes back to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Dave, what are your thoughts? There's a lot going on.
Really great point, Eddie. And I wanted to hear about that because it felt like when Swarsby did kind of run crazy on us a little bit there that we weren't using the spy as much. But here's a good example where clearly we're deploying it here in the second quarter. Why would we have changed that strategy up later in the game?
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to see stuff like this on slow motion too, but it felt, at least to me, that we were trusting our defensive ends to get home. And sometimes he just either broke contain or climbed up in the pocket and then broke contain. I felt like our defensive tackles were not fast enough to keep up with this quarterback because he was fast. Yeah,
and to Honke, your point earlier about rush defense and was I happy with it or not? If you asked me the rush defense versus the running backs, I was, right? Especially when that goes up Wisconsin guy. We have nightmares about Wisconsin running backs, right? but the quarterback did some damage, and it was in those situations later in the game too. And so that's curious, and it really was about the spy or not, it seems like.
Well, and what I would say to that is, right here, we deployed 5 people essentially in the rush, right? Like the 4 rushers plus the spy guy. If you think about the last couple of drives, specifically the last one when he was running around and extending plays, normally as a defense, you don't want to use more than 4 rushers on those type of situations because then you have one less guy for coverage. So maybe that's why we decided not to use a spy guy, because we didn't want to give the big play, which definitely that's what they were trying to do on that last play when we picked it up. So I think that's the reason why we didn't use a spy on those situations at the end.
Kind of a catch-22 there, yeah. I get it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is the final part of it. Thank you so much, Eddie, by the way, and Dave, for this has been so much fun so far. We get to end in an area where I think we had a really successful night, and it's an area that we've needed to see some success. We wanted to see it, hear about it all offseason, and that's in the special teams. And we'll start here with a 52-yard field goal. And Coach Eckler, who, by the way, was a Blair High alum and Eddie's team, Standing Bear, beat them with a field goal on Friday night. But Eckler, he talked about in the offseason that these field goals, it's 33, 33, 34, 33% on the snap, 33% on the hold, and 34% on the kick. And here, Kunanen, the new field goal kicker, the transfer in this offseason, he makes that 52-yarder. I don't know how much to break down a field goal, but I guess, as Eddie, as you're seeing this, I mean, what are your thoughts?
I mean, good hold, good kick. I think, because I saw a couple of block kicks this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
If you see the wing on our left, see how he still stays super tight to the tackle, but just puts a hand on 0, and that slows him down. Those little details can be the difference between someone getting a free path to be able to at least attempt the block compared to not even trying it, like in this case. So I know that's just such a nerdy football thing right there, but look at 0. Once he gets touched, he's like, all right, well, I'm not blocking this.
I mean, Dave, when you saw this 52-yard field goal, what does this do for us? the ability to make these points. We're down 3-0 at this point. So this ties the game for us. These are our first points of the game. What does this mean for us moving forward on the season?
No, I mean, if we think we can hit and it looks like he's probably got a few extra yards on that. So maybe, 55-yarder might be his range or so. At least it's a game changer, really. I mean, we talk about yards per point, and obviously we'd love to get touchdowns every single drive, so you're really efficient with YPP. But if you're going to get stopped on a shorter drive here and still get 3 points, that's not all bad, right? And I mean, let's hope. I mean, like I'm intrigued by college kickers right now. It seems like I was just watching a lot of football over this weekend, obviously, and the Virginia Tech kicker last night was going into the game 40 of 45. He hit 3 more. I mean, there's some really good kickers out there. Maybe we got one ourselves.
Oh, how nice would that be? Well, if we have a good kicker, I think we also have a good punter. And Archie was a great story over the offseason, true freshman here from Australia. But, boy, he had a great night kicking. He had 3 punts that went inside the 20-yard line, including this one here, 4th and 14 with 2 minutes and 14 seconds left at the end of the game. I mean, how crucial is this in terms of flipping the field? And he kicks the ball out to the 9-yard line. Eddie, I'll start with you on this one, but this punter seems pretty special. He can do this left foot and right foot. And I can only imagine how challenging that is also from a scheme perspective, making sure that you're protecting for both and making sure that you have everything sound. But what are your early thoughts here?
Man, I need to know what they feed the Australians punters because, man, it seems like there's always like 4 or 5 in the NFL who are just amazing. And he seems to be just right up that alley. You mentioned it, obviously protecting and everything, but normally punters have like 3 or 4 different ways they can kick the ball, right? Like it spins back to you or spins to them or just dies on the air, knuckleball, all that stuff. Now, if you tell me you can do it with both feet, now that turns into 6 different balls that he can kick, right? So as a fielder, that's awful. Like that's a nightmare. Having to field a ball that looks different every time and spins different on the air every time, I'm sure has to be stressful as people are running down the field to tackle you.
Yeah, Dave. I mean,
yeah. So now you're talking my language here with Australian kickers, right? I'll represent the Aussie Rules football fandom that is the Go Big Redcast. Boomer and Rob both watch with me. So I mean, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, I'm more surprised that we had one Australian kicker before this that wasn't that good, right? But Archie looks like the real deal. And I mean, these guys have been kicking like this since they were little kids, right? And the leg, there's a 50-meter circle in Australian rules football. I want to be clear, this guy plays Aussie rules football. It's not soccer or rugby. And kicking is the name of the game there. And kicking on the fly while running and having different angles and all that type of stuff is what they do. I mean, that's what the entire game is about. And so the distance, 50 meters is gigantic, right? And then be able to kick the ball at all these different ways is what Australian football is all about. So excited to see this guy kick the rest of the year. We've seen this done to us. And I'm really excited if we could do this to other teams because it's tough to be on the other side.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of ending it and saying it, Dave. We've played Iowa, who's had a really good Aussie kicker for the last few years. He's thankfully gone now, but I'm sure they've got another good one. And there's nothing I want to see more than at the end of a very close game against Iowa that we're kicking the ball down to their 1-yard line and forcing them to have to go down the whole length of the field.
Yeah, keep in mind, Honke, I mean, like, instead of passing the ball with your hands in Aussie rules football, you kick it to other guys who are running down the field. I mean, like, you have to have accuracy with the kicking. So this is how they do it because they literally are training to kick the ball like 40 or 50 yards down to someone else running the ball like they're running a flight pattern.
Now I need to go watch that. Now I need to go watch
seriously. It's on Fox Sports late night. But,
this is an entire new market for 2% football. You can
that's
get
right.
Yeah.
Hey, and going back a little bit on our conversation, I would invite all Husker fans, don't get discouraged if Dylan doesn't force a ball on a 3rd and long. Because if we're kicking 52-yard field goal,
Yeah.
or we can pin someone, on the 5-yard line with a great punt, either we're playing the field position game or we're getting points out of this no matter what. So I would rather see that than a dumb turnover, or maybe you force a ball and it's an incompletion, but a 3rd and 10 that turns into a 4th and 10 is different than it's 4th and 5 and now we can kick the field goal. So be patient with Dylan on 3rd and long, especially on that side of the field.
Yeah, I had very few critiques, I thought, coaching-wise in the game, decision-making. One of them was at the beginning of the 3rd quarter when we had him about midfield and it was 4th down and we went for it and didn't get it because of what we were already seeing from Archie. I wanted to see us not go for it on 4th and 3. I wanted us to pin him down again to the 5-yard line, to the 10-yard line, play a little bit of that field position game, because I think we were up 13-3 at the time. But to the point, like, this is a new thing for us as Husker fans. I can certainly say it as Redcasters, because we've been doing this show for about 9 years. The idea that we might have weapons in the punting game and the kicking game completely changes how we could view a game and how much risk you have to take at different times. Scoring points is good, and so anytime we can get points, you want 7, but if you get 3, that's good. And anytime that you can flip fields and make defenses or make the other team have to go the whole length of it. Think about that last drive. Archie kicks him down to the 9-yard line. If that ball goes out at the 39-yard line, I don't know that we get that interception anymore. Like they had to go, how many plays did they have to run just to get to the point where they finally threw that interception? The clock is running, and they're feeling stressed the whole time because that clock is ticking on them, and they can't just run the ball. Even though they were successful doing it, they can't feel like they can just run it. They don't have a timeout. They don't want the clock to keep going. So now it just adds stress. Well, starting your drive at the 9 helps. And so this goes back to the very beginning of everything we talked about. There's little nuances on a play. One little fake here might make one guy go, one step here, and then that gives a better angle for this blocker here. And then I loved what you talked about in the middle of this, Eddie, from the vantage point of an OC, how you're seeing things. And number 11 on defense is doing this, so I'm going to keep calling this play and force them. Like, you've already won it if you made him come and blitz. Like, you got him to do the thing you wanted him to do. I just love that perspective. Redcasters, that's a great perspective to kind of be in the mind of an OC there. And so, Dave, I'm going to hand this back over to you with our parting shots and everything for the hosting. But I want to thank you, Eddie, there with all that perspective.
Of course, anytime. I love talking football. I love the Huskers, so anytime.
Honke, you might take your job from you. I don't know.
He should. He did way better than I did.
Well, Honke, why don't we get out of here with some parting shots, and you can start it off.
Yeah, this was a great first weekend here. I mean, great first game. We're 1-0. We beat a Power 4 team, and don't let that go for not, Redcasters. We've had too many games. How many times in the last 9 years do we lose this game? We find a way to lose it. It was a close loss. And I saw I think it was a Bobby Bowden quote that said, first when you're rebuilding a program, first you lose big, then you lose small, then you win small, and then you win big. And we could have won this game by 20 points. It's possible. We could have done it. In a way, though, isn't this the growth that we also wanted to see? Like, last year, we needed to get to a bowl game. We just had to, no matter what our record was. We just had to end that bowl streak. We ended it. Right now, we're still losing a bunch of real close games. Well, you got to win one of them. And we just won one against a team that's a Power 4 team. And we did it in a lot of different ways. We didn't play perfect, but yet different guys at different times stepped up. And the second that we're ready to toss somebody aside, Hartzog, oh gosh, he's getting picked on. Oh, Hartzog can't. Oh, he's holding the guy. And he just extended get Hartzog out of there. He makes the pick to end the game. And I think that's the level of patience, I hope, and grace that I hope that we have. The mistakes that some of that young D-line made in this game, you don't think they're going to get better? This staff hasn't shown you enough that development and improvement from week to week is important. I mean, I'm excited to see. I wish the game was right now against Akron. I want to see this D-line getting back out there and playing with their hair on fire and getting some tackles in the backfield and making big stops. And Judy, I think Judy's going to have a great season. So, I'm not picking on him on that one where he got pushed around there on a play. It's just identifying why he got pushed around. So, anyways, I'm very optimistic. It's a great start to the season, and I think we're going to be in great position to be playing Michigan at 3-0 here in a few weeks, and that's what everybody wanted to see.
Yeah, I think you should be optimistic in Akron in particular. They lost at home to Wyoming 10-0. So I don't think they're looking forward to Saturday. Eddie, as our special guest, the honors to get us out of here with your parting shot.
Yeah, just excited to see this season. Oh, I lost you guys for a second. My bad.
Nope. Oh, okay.
Anyway, yeah, just excited to see this season. I think we have a lot of weapons on offense, and I think Dana is going to get creative with them. And then on defense, I'm happy to see Coach Butler at the helm. We've seen really good defenses in the past couple of years from Nebraska. Now seeing him step up to the plate, and I just want to continue seeing him call this defense. He has a lot of talent. He has a lot of great defensive backs, which I think will free him up to call a lot of exotic blitzes or stunts like he tried to do this week. So just schematically speaking, I'm excited for what this team can do. As a fan, I agree with Matt. I think we're going to be 3-0 going into Michigan. And, hey, if we win that game, this is going to be very interesting. If we win that game, it's going to be very interesting.
Yes. That's right. All right, good stuff, guys. Really enjoyed it. Honke, I think Mac missed a show, man. I tell you.
Yeah.
He's going to regret it.
I think that's whose job just got taken. I think Eddie.
Eddie, you might need to change your name to Matt so you can be on Matt Rhule. But besides that, you're great.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Awesome show.
Well, and
Enjoyed
2%
it.
football. One last plug there, Dave, for 2% football. And Eddie, how can they get to you?
I think you guys can see this. I don't know if they can. Underneath my name, 2% football. That's how you spell it out. Look for us on social media, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, or my name. If you want to reach out to me, we can figure something out.
Awesome. Great. Well, enjoy the rest of your Labor Day weekend. For now, let's call that another Go Big Redcast.
GBR.
A Herd at Sports Network production.